Okay, so I was waiting all day to be able to make a video on these patch notes, but they apparently broke their own forums. And 7 hours later, I was starting my stream, and then they finally released the patch notes. So, this is a lot less cut and edited and polished and prepared and practiced. This is me just, we're doing it live. We're doing it live. So we've got, lots of snarky comments in the background above my head too. So, these just came out. I haven't read them. Here we go. Game update notes, May 11th, 2021. The launch of our new forums has been delayed until tomorrow. Okay. It's important to us that you get the May 11th skill and balance updates notes today. Let me just pause there for a second. Yeah, it really was. So 2 days ago, they released, on the 27th, they released a roadmap for the next, 6 months. And in it, the very first thing was on May 20, it was on the 29th, which is 2 days away, that's now, you're going to get these notes. And then it looked like they weren't going to be able to do it. And it's like, please do not break the very first promise. I was scared for them. I was like, please don't break the first promise on the list. So I'm really glad that despite what appears to have been technical difficulties, they have managed to get this up and running. And I'm going to copy paste this into the Twitch chat one time so you guys can watch it if you want. So, we are posting them here on the blog. Visit our official Twitter and... Booty! Hello, dear patron. Visit our official Twitter and Facebook channels to discuss the new info with other players. Alright, game update notes, May 11th, 2021, skills and balance release notes. It's been a long while since our last major balance patch. In this update, we're preparing for Cantha by cleaning up long-standing frustrations with boons and conditions, as well as by positioning existing builds as new potential sources of alacrity and quickness in group play. Okay. You've got my attention. I have said for a while I would love to see, and I know everybody's used to me saying buff rangers and stuff, so I'm gonna make this broad. I would love to see builds that currently contribute nothing but DPS to PvE groups contribute something more. Rangers bring spirits, warriors bring banners, some people have quickness, some have alacrity. Weavers, engineers, thieves, y'all are just damaged. Dime a dozen 6-piece dumpster diving chicken McNobodies. You need something. You need some kind of seasoning on those classes, because it's just, especially Hollowsmiths, they burn themselves out. They need like a water break every 5 minutes when they overheat. It's terrible. So let's see what we got coming. Among these changes are new duration caps for each boon and condition, a rework of the retaliation and resistance boons, and a reversal to the bonus damage state of the torment condition. Torment will now deal bonus damage to targets that are standing still instead of to moving targets. Okay, immediately, Torment just became way better in PvE, and way easier to deal with in PvP. So, that means PvE, Mirage and Scourge's damage just skyrocketed. Just from that. And that, and of course, Renegade's a bit too. Wow, okay. This change will enhance Torment's performance in most boss encounters, and create, suddenly, Mirages are terrible on Twin Largos, guys. They just completely flipped Twin Largos. This change will enhance Torment's performance in most boss encounters and create better opportunities for synergy and counterplay in PvP. The Retaliation boon has long been a pain point, both in PvE and PvP. It's not particularly impactful. Yeah, I'll tell you guys, I can be playing AeroKart in World v World and barraging non-stop, and the enemy Retaliation on 5 people that's all coming back and hitting me slowly wears me down. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. It's not particularly impactful to use and never fun to play against. We've replaced it with a new boon, Resolution, which complements the existing Protection boon by reducing incoming damage from conditions, bleeding, poisoned, burning, torment, and confusion by 33%. Many current traits and skills use retaliation in some way or to an added effect. Those traits aren't going away. Generally, they've been updated to use the new resolution boon. As always, the detailed patch notes below will tell you exactly what's happening for each profession. Okay. I mean, when I think Retal, I think Guardian, and now I think Guardian's got more condition defenses, so that makes me nervous, but we'll see. Similarly, we're not quite happy with how Resistance is a hard shutdown on all conditions, which creates overlapping gameplay with skills that cleanse conditions. We've updated Resistance to only affect non-damaging conditions. Oh, baby! In other words, Resolution helps reduce damage from Bleeding, Poison, Burning, Torment, Confusion, while Resistance lets you ignore Blinded, Crippled, Chill, Fear, Immobilize, Slow, Taunt, and Vulnerability and Weakness. Since we're reducing the overall effect of Resistance, we're also reevaluating and increasing durations in some skills where it is applied. That's awesome. So, as someone who likes to play in PvP as a condition damage ranger, I know, not common, whatever, I don't care. Revenants would Resistance for a while and be immune to conditions, then they would do their glint thing and get a full heal, and then I'd fight them on even ground for a few seconds, then they would Resistance again. That will change. Boon and condition updates. Resolution. Retail Boon has been renamed Resolution. Incoming condition damage is decreased by 33%, stacks duration, unless otherwise specified. Skills and traits that formerly granted you to use Retaliation now use Resolution. Resistance. Non-damaging conditions currently on the players are ineffective, stacks duration. Torment. Deals damage every second, deals additional damage to foes that are not moving, stacks intensity. Duration caps for boons and conditions. Duration stacking boons and conditions now behave consistently. They can directly stack durations added from all sources, do not have hidden stack limits, and generally have shorter maximum durations. With most non-damaging conditions, durations stack to a maximum of 10 seconds. We aim to reduce situations in which players can become stuck in combat because of a long duration condition, preventing them from using their mount. Oh, that's nice. When is the giveaway, guys? It'll be at least 2 hours. Boons, Alacrity, Fury, Protection, Resolution, Quickness, Resistance, Swiftness, and Vigor, 30. You can stack up to 30 seconds of resistance. Conditions. Is this in PvE, PvP, or everywhere? Blind, Chill, Cripple, Immobilize, Slow, and Weakness, 10 seconds. I guess that's, I guess that's everywhere. Okay. To kind of give some perspective on this, like if a ranger roots you and you just stand there, you don't like hack the root, you don't use a stun break or anything, and the entire root does the full channel, it's 10 seconds. So that's about that amount of time. Mantras, Mesmers, and Firebrands. We acknowledge there are significant flaws with core gameplay innate to Mantra skills, and that this problem was exacerbated in Guild Wars 2 Path of Fire when we switched Mesmer Mantras to an ammo system, creating an incentive to not use the final charge. This is a poor user experience and something we had hoped for a long time to be able to come back and address. Needing to prepare for combat by using a sequence of skills with a long casting time is not fun. I immediately think of my druid when, to prepare for combat, I have to ask an ally to suicide so that I can slap them awake to build druid fluids. But we're talking about mantras right now. And in most cases, using the final charge of a mantra in combat felt like a mistake. Absolutely true. It's not only denied your use of the skill for a long time, but it also required you to prepare your mantras again after the cooldown expired. Instead of being rewarding to use, mantras have been a chore. Something you need to remember to do every single time you change maps or respawn, or deal with after every GG and Fractal Strike or Raid. Holding your group up while you again prepare each of your mantras never feels great either. During the development of this balance patch, we tried several alternatives, including automatic preparation while out of combat. Ultimately, we found that the best course of action was to simplify the mantra skill and remove the prep mechanic altogether, as this ensures that we can have consistent behavior between Mesmer and Firebrand mantras, as well as consistent core functionality between PvE and PvP game modes. As a result, in this balance update, we've decided to rework both Mesmer and Firebrand mantras into ammo skills. Oh. No more preparing mantras before use, they are always in the ready mode, storing up uses. Firebrand mantras are no longer stronger on the final charge. All uses are the same. Does that mean they're all the same strength as the weak charge, or they're all the same strength as the strong charge? I would guess they're all the same strength as the weak charge. But if you use the final one, you don't, you're not accidentally screwed for 12 seconds. Mesmer mantras no longer do something on prep. Some related tuning or trait changes will happen as a result. While this results in a loss of some of the current flavor inherent to the mantra skill type, we have found that the ability to easily read, understand, use these skills in normal gameplay is a strong improvement to the play experience. Okay. To better indicate which skills will deal defiance damage, icons within skill tooltips that represent applied control effects are now purple. The exposed effect that is placed on many boss enemies when their defiance bar is... What's up? Noxxi! Thank you for the raid. Muckler, Douglas, Bartholomew, Reginald, Esquire, the 4th, Mr. Johnson, Van Stopples, the 3rd. Thanks you, Noxxi. And welcome to a new video to the Boon Zone. We're reading Gilder's 2 patch notes. The exposed effect that is placed on many bosses when their defiance bar is broken has been adjusted. It now increases power damage taken by 30% and condition damage taken by 100? Oh, baby! Yo, my hybrid soul beast is cheering. It is so easy. Okay, guys, I mean, I freely admit that I like playing my builds with training wheels. That's wild. So, because here's the thing, though. When you are fighting a boss, if you're playing a condition build, and let's say you've just got all your condis up, your damage goes up and it kind of plateaus. Like, you've already got 30 bleeds, 20 burns, whatever, on the boss. And then his break bar breaks, and all those debuffs are already there. They just start ticking harder. Like, it was really easy for a condition user to capitalize on the exposed debuff. A power user had to make sure, as a soul beast, I had to be like, all right, he's about to break. I need to use one wolf pack. I need to use merch with pet, use Sikkim, and then, okay, it broke. All right, Axe 5. Like, you had to line things up more. It took more effort. But with conditions, you just got to make sure they're all there. You just got to make sure they're all there. So this is interesting. Text on text on many damage-increasing professions, traits, runes, and sigils has been clarified to indicate whether they increase outgoing strike damage, condition damage, or all damage as appropriate. Items. The superior sigil of the stars now also increases concentration and expertise. What does that one do? Hold on a second. I've got a... Hang on a sec. Superior stars. Here we go. So currently, it's gain a charge of 2 to all stats each time you kill a foe. 5 charges when you kill a player. And now, it's going to be also improves concentration and expertise. Okay. The celestial stat combination on gear now also increases concentration and expertise. The per stat values have not been decreased. Now, I'll remind you guys, if you're PvP, celestial was just a while back, it was removed from PvP. So this is something that you could use in World versus World or PvE, but not PvP. Mounts. Griffin Swoop now does bonus damage based on your velocity. Oh, now that's just happy juice. I mean, who doesn't want to dive bot? Yo, that means Octovine, when you go flying in and that first breacher is there, I am going to hit it with a Mach 2 bird every day. Every day, 7 p.m., Mach 2 bird coming out of the sky hitting a breacher. You can check your clocks by it. All right, profession-specific stuff. Elementalist. We feel that the Elementalist has been in a very good place since the July 2020 balance update. Both Tempest and Weavers have effective high damage, power, and condition damage builds, while the Tempest is also powerful in a support role. We weren't completely happy that the top-end power and condition damage Elementalist builds have had approximately the same sustained damage, so we're making minor targeted reductions to the power builds and increases to condition damage sources to help condition damage builds really shine on bosses and other hard targets, and to ensure that they aren't left behind by the effect of the Torment condition change has for other professions. Flame Strike, let's see, Scepter, Flame Strike cast time reduced by 1/4. Warhorn Wildfire, burning duration increased from 2.5 to 3 seconds. Lightning Orb, power, reduced power coefficient per strike from 0.45 to 0.36 in PvE. This matches the existing power coefficient in PvP and World v World. Weaver, Elements of Rage, strike damage bonus reduced from 10% to 5. Each condition increases damage. I can't talk. Increases condition damage by 5. Alright, so... Power, nerf, and then condition buff, and then they're both at 5%. Engineer. While the Scrapper can be played as an effective healer, it hasn't had access to the offensive boons it needs to be truly valuable as a support role in group PvE content. Oh. As a result, we've seen the Scrapper get very little play outside of World v. World. With this update, we're reworking the Scrapper trait Kinetic Stabilizers so that Scrappers can apply the Quickness boon on up to 5 targets, opening up a powerful boon support role for the specialization. Nice. We're also taking some potential damage out of the Hollowsmith's heat management and Laser's Edge, and we're instead adding more power to the core explosives trait Glass Cannon, making that damage accessible to more builds. Yo, Merrick TV is gonna be psyched. This is what I was talking about. Before I read the notes, today in this recording, I said, I want to see pure damage classes that don't bring anything to the table but damage, get something to help them find groups. And I said engineers, Ellies, and thieves, you're just DPS, you bring nothing. Right here, engineers getting quickness. I love it. Where are these notes? Here, I'll link it again. Rifle overcharge shot no longer knocks the engineer back. Oh! They no longer have to give themselves stability when they use their rifle skills. Explosives. Glass Cannon increased strike damage from 7 to 10%. Scrapper Kinetic Stabilizer has been reworked and renamed. It is now Kinetic Accelerators, which is when you grant super speed to a target, also grant quickness for 2 seconds. Applied Force has been reworked to grant stability instead of quickness to grant extra power from Might. Players now gain stability when they gain Might above the threshold. Might grants bonus power, 10 per stack. That's probably just to the engineer himself. Which Reapers got utility other than CC? You do have boon removal. Not many people have boon removal. It doesn't matter on mini fights, and then it's required for some. So I'm not saying it's gonna get you as many groups as having quickness, but you do have something. Hollowsmith Laser's Edge, reduce max damage increase from 25 to 15 in PvE only. This will now match the value of PvP and World v. World. Hang on just a second. Alright. Guardian. Guardian has always been a very flexible and powerful profession. Alright, before I even read this. Like, it's no secret, it's been almost a running gag on my channel. Anytime someone's like, what should I play? I'm interested in, I was like, it doesn't matter where that sentence is going to end, the answer is Guardian. They are excellent power DPS, they're excellent Condi DPS, they're excellent healers, they can provide Aegis, quickness, stability, might, fury, regen, everything but alacrity. Everything but alacrity and vulnerability on the target. They're the kings of 5-man support and excellent damage dealing in all categories. Despite me saying all that, I don't particularly want them nerfed. I just want everybody else buffed up to match that. You know? Like, I rather than nerf Guardian, I would love to see the other classes get the same flexibility, but that is very difficult to class design, okay? That's very difficult to class design. So I don't really know what I'm hoping for when I read this, so let's just see what happens. While we are happy with the current build diversity available to Guardians, and we are working to extend that same diversity to other professions, that's a nice sentence, we've observed that all Guardian damage builds, both condition and power, utilizes the same combination of the Zeal and Radiant specializations, as they have optimal trait choices for each. We're making a few changes to Zeal, Virtues, and the underperforming Consecration utility skills. To better differentiate the two specializations and allow Virtues to be a viable option for condition damage builds. Okay, so they're trying to get some of the lesser played trait lines to seize the light of day. Scepter. Symbol of Punishment. Increase cooldown from 6 to 10 in PvE, from 8 to 10 in World v. World. Okay. Chains of Light will now know, the skill now requires a target to activate. Okay. Staff. Symbol of Swiftness. Decrease the cooldown from 15 to 12 in PvE only. That's a minor quality of life. Alright. Greatsword. Symbol of Wrath has been renamed Symbol of Resolution. Symbol of Resolution. Reduce cooldown from 20 to 12. Damage per strike reduced by 10%. So damage per strike reduced by 10%, but almost half the cooldown? I'm actually confused why they bothered changing the name, because mechanically nothing's changed, but they changed the name of it. I feel like that would just lead to confusion, but all right. Consecrations. Wall of... Oh, that's right. No, hold on. That's right. That was that skill gave you retail, didn't it? That skill gave you retail, and now it's going to be the resolution thing. Got it. That's why they did. That's why they did it. I guess it wouldn't be very wrathful to just be sitting there ignoring conditions. Consecrations. Wall of Reflection. Reduced base duration from 10 seconds to 8. Reduced cooldown from 30 to 25. All right. Purging Flames. Reduced the radius from 240 to 180. Now, Purging Flames was a dummy thick spell. So, okay. This skill no longer burns foes that cross the outside of the field. Instead, it now applies 1 stack of burning with a 4-second duration on foes inside the radius when cast, and again on each pulse for the duration of the effect. It's a flame trap. They just made it a targetable flame trap. I'm a little envious, I admit. I'm a little envious. They now have a flame trap that they can target where it goes. Longer cooldown, though. Cooldown reduced from 35 to 25 seconds in PvE. Never mind. Sanctuary. Reduced cooldown from 60 to 50. Shouts. Save yourselves. Increase the duration of resistance from 1.5 to 3. Now, a reminder that resistance no longer blocks damage. It just blocks all the other nasty stuff. Radiance. Healer's Retribution. This trait has been renamed Healer's Resolution. Another example of retail being changed to Resolution. Virtues. Inspired Virtue. This trait now additionally increases strike damage for each boon on the Guardian. This effect was formerly on Power of the Virtuous. Absolute Resolution. This trait has been renamed Absolute Resolve.
A new arrival.
Same thing. Power of the Virtuous has been reworked. Guardians now gain condition damage based on Vitality, 10%. Virtues gain reduced recharge, 15%. Zeal, Zealot's Speed. This trait is being named Zealot's Resolution. Lesser Symbol of Wrath. This, it feels like they just did Control F, find all things with retail, and then replace with Resolution in Word. Lesser Symbol of Wrath. The skill has been renamed Lesser Symbol of Resolution. Symbolic Power. Symbol strikes no longer channel the Virtue skill. 1 passive effect more quickly. Wait, let me reread that. Symbol strikes will no longer charge the Virtue skill 1 passive effect more quickly. Oh, so what did that? I think that was the one where it's like instead of doing burning every 4, it would do it every 4 hits. It would do burning like every 3 hits. So they're on symbols, which are just on the ground constantly pulsing. It will apply burning less frequently, if I've got that right. Eternal Armory. Spirit weapons now only apply burning on the first strike per cast. Oh, dang! Increase burn duration from 4 to 8 in PvE, from 2.5 to 5 seconds in World v World, and from 2 to 4 in PvP. This is a reduction to total burning from Sword of Justice and an increase in total burning to Hammer of Wisdom and Shield of the Avenger when used with this trait. That is a massive reduction in total burning from Sword of Justice. Sword of Justice, for those of you who don't play Guardian, that's where they throw down the sword and it spins and does a helicopter impression. That would apply a lot of stacks of burning, and now it's going to do 1 for 8 seconds in PvE. Alright. Firebrand. Stoic Demeanor. Fixed a bug that caused a 3-second interval rather than the correct 1 second. Okay, it's a bug fix. Mantras. Mantras no longer need to be charged before use. We read about this a minute ago. They now hold 3 charges by default. Final charge is no longer stronger. They regenerate ammo normally. As someone who has a few ammo skills on my class, such as Dagger 3 and Dagger 5, you guys are going to love it. The ammo system is so much better than that old Mantra thing. Dragon Hunter. Defender's Dogma. This trait now uses the correct icon.
Thank God.
Reduced internal cooldown to 1 second in PvE only. This matches the current cooldown in PvP and World v World. Okay. Pure of Sight. This trait now uses the correct icon. The description has been clarified to communicate that strike damage dealt increases with distance from the struck enemy. Okay, so that's like a clarification. Longbow Puncture Shot. Removed the bouncing aspect of this skill. Oh, really? I thought that was fun. The skill will now pierce enemies and inflicts cripple condition on all enemies if it hits more than one with a cap of 5. Wait, hold on, what? So the Longbow Dragon Hunter just basically got the Rangers Lead the Wind for free? Alright, there's that envy again. There's that envy again, guys. It's coming back. Alright, Symbol of Energy. Cooldown reduced from 15 to 12 seconds. Casting time reduced by 0.3. Alright. Hunter's Word. The skill's cast has been reworked. The Dragon Hunter will now channel the skill for 1 second, then release the barrage, allowing movement while the attacks occur and the traps are formed. That's kind of cool. So that's when it's the Dragon Hunter skill where it looks like arrows of light are raining down, and if you're in it on the final hit, you get the baby gates around you and you can't leave. So that's basically saying that they just like charge it up for 1 second, release, and then they can move. Now, I mean that to me that's going to make them scarier because that's going to basically mean more net mobility for Dragon Hunters. Okay. Mesmer. Chronomancer has been steeply overperforming in a damage roll in all content, leading to an environment in which the best way to tackle almost any challenge is throw more Chronomancers at it. Oh, ANET has access to YouTube. I wasn't sure if they knew. On the other hand, dude, I literally have people on my Discord all the time that post like, oh, we got a new record on this boss, and they post a screenshot, and it's just like a Firebrand, a Druid, and 8 Chronos. It's always like 7, 8 Chronos every time. On the other hand, Mirage hasn't been performing at the level we'd like it to. It's been relegated to a damage roll in only a few specific boss encounters in which Confusion is particularly potent. Twin Largos. With this update, Mirage will see general improvement for performance from the change to the Torment condition, with the option of using a reworked Chaos specialization that will now better synergize for condition damage and support builds. We're also creating a new possible Boon support role for Mirages using the Staff by changing Chaos Vortex, the Staff's ambush skill, to grant Might and Alacrity to 10 targets. I like to see it! 10-man Alacrity Mesmers. They can now be in a slot of an Alacrigade if you don't have one. I like to see it. Yeah, that's great. IMO, that is great. That means, yes, Flute can be replaced, yes. But that's more flexibility in groups. If you've got, you're trying to form a group, can't get an Alacrigade, but you see a Mesmer, fill it in. More flexibility. I like it. I like it. Deception. Like, you guys know Mesmers torture me daily. I like this. Deception. Down skill 2. I'm going to make a Mesmer now. Flute. Don't. And the reason you shouldn't is it will probably require more than pressing F4 to keep Alacrity up on a Mesmer, and you're already in over your head. Thank you, dear sub. Deception, down skill 2. This nice. This skill is now ground targeted while on land and no longer displays the power. No, displaces the player when summoning a clone underwater. When you're downed. That's the thing where you go invisible, a clone appears, and then you move like 5 feet to the left and you reappear. So when you're underwater, you won't move. Interesting choice. Okay. So, like many others, I'm wondering if we're going to be seeing more underwater stuff in Cantha. I don't know. Arcane Thievery. The skill now requires a target to activate. That's a... I mean, you could say that's a buff, but really I think it should have always been that way. Arcane Thievery is insane. But it does a lot of stuff, but if you don't have a target, it doesn't do anything. So I think it's good that they did that. I mean, it resists... that's basically just making it so you can't fat finger it. You know what I wonder? If you're casting Arcane Thievery on, like, a thief, and halfway through the cast, they go invisible, I wonder if it would still hit or if it would refund the cooldown. Or if it would still... I think it would still fire it and burn the cooldown. I think it would. Time Warp. Reduced the cooldown from 180 to 120. Reduced duration from 10 to 5. This skill now applies 1 second of quickness and slow per pulse for a total of 6 pulses over a 5-second duration. Mantras. Mantras no longer need to be prepared before use. They have ammo now, blah, 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 blah. Sword. Illusionary Riposte. This skill no longer displaces the player when summoning a clone. Fun fact, I used to call that word riposte. I was all about riposte builds in other games I played. I love to riposte. Illusionary Counter. This skill no longer displaces the player when summoning a clone. Blah, 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 blah. Staff. Winds of Chaos. Increase projectile speed by 25% and casting speed by 0.1 second. Lowered aftercast animation lock by 0.2 seconds. Fixed an inconsistency with projectile behavior after bouncing. This skill now applies Torment for 5 seconds to the first target struck, and Confusion for 5 seconds on subsequent hits to enemies. Allies gain Might for 5 seconds, and Fury for 3. That's kind of cool. So Winds of Chaos did like random condies and boons just all over the place before. They basically restricted it a bit. Now it's a little bit less of everything, and now it's more reliably these 4 things. So that's interesting. Chaos Armor, reduced recharge to 25 seconds. This skill no longer applies a random condition to nearby foes when cast. Instead, it now applies blindness and confusion to nearby foes when cast. Oh, snap. That'll be something to watch out for in PvP. If you're fighting a Mesmer with a staff, they could blind you with 1 click, with almost no animation, I think, on Chaos. Chaos Armor was almost instant, I think. So they could just, like, right... Oh my god, when they go to stomp you, they don't even have to burn their 1 dodge. They could just use Chaos Armor to blind you while they're stomping, possibly. Woo! Chaos Storm. Reduce recharge to 25 seconds of PvE only. Mirage. Chaos Vortex, which is staff ambush. The projectile now only strikes enemies. Up to 10 nearby allies gains boons. The boons gained are now Might, 8 stacks, 15-second duration in PvE, 4 stacks, 6-second duration in PvE and World v World, and Alacrity for 3 seconds. What's going on? Otterscotch, thank you for the raid, buddy. Mucklet, Douglas, Bartholomew, Reginald, Esquire, the fourth, Mr. Johnson, Face, Stuffles, the third, welcomes you, Otto, and your devious to the Bone Zone. Hope you enjoy us. Stay tuned, Corporates on the way, giveaways, please take a seat on the edge. We are reading Guild Wars 2 patch notes. No, boons are applied near the Mesmer only, not near the clones. Okay, so yet another way for them to do Alacrity now. Necromancer, Danger Time. Remove the critical damage bonus. Chrono Phantasma, resummon Phantasm damage is now 75% PvE only. Seize the Moment. Quickness duration per clone shattered has been reduced from 1.5 seconds to 1 second in PvE only. Are you sure you're not the guy from the end of ads? Yes, these patch notes may include side effects, such as upset stomachs, nausea, heartburn, indigestion, and diarrhea. Please see your doctor before trying Guild Wars. Where was I? You messed me up. Chaos, blah, 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 blah. I was around here. Illusionary Membrane, the trait's been reworked. While regenerating, condition damage dealt is increased, and condition damage taken reduced by 10%. Chaotic Persistence. This trait has been reworked. Gain concentration and expertise while regenerating. That's kind of neat. Chaotic Dampening. This trait has been reworked and named Chaotic Potency. Gain condition damage, gain additional condition damage while wielding a staff. Recharge of staff skills is reduced. Chaotic Transference, reworked. Chaos Armor grants 3 seconds of protection. Gain regen for 5 seconds with a 15-second cooldown when gaining protection. Inspiration, Restorative mantras heal allies around you when activating a mantra. Reduced the healing amount by 50%. Okay, you guys can give boons, but you can't heal. Alright, Necromancer. Necromancer is a flexible and durable profession. It is not currently in need of any major changes. The end. Next class. No, I'm just kidding. But alongside general improvements to the performance of other condition damage specializations, we're improving the Necromancer's access to condition damage and curses with improved condition application. We're also making improvements in Soul Reaping as Soul Barbs to increase condition damage, and we're making small improvements to the usability of several traits in the Blood Magic specialization. Axe Ghastly Claws. The skill now requires a target to activate. I believe that's Axe 2. It's the one that hits really freaking hard. Again, it didn't do anything before. I think this is just to prevent fat fingering it. Lichform Deathly Claws. The skill no longer fires projectiles at enemies located behind the player. Why is that the end of the Lichform patch notes? I'm sad to see it, guys. I won't go into a rant today. I feel I've ranted too much lately, so I'll just say this as calmly as possible. Lich form, no matter your spec, you can be Condi, you can be power, you can be support, hits like a mucking truck. I don't know of any other elite in the game that hits you with the force of 1,000 bricks, even if you're don't have the right stats for it. Why? Curses! Bard Precision increases duration of bleeding inflicted from... Oh, also its rotation is 1. Curses! Bard Precision increased duration of bleeding inflicted from 2 seconds to 3 seconds in PvE only. Insidious Disruption increased duration of torment from 3 seconds to 5 seconds. Hey, they just buffed Torment in a huge way in PvE. That's going to be nice for them. Blood Magic, Mark of Evasion. This trait no longer has an internal cooldown. Wait, isn't that the one that gives you a mark of blood on the ground every time you dodge? Am I thinking of the right thing? Hang on. GW2, Mark of Evasion. Yeah. So, oh wow, that's... I mean, that's minor. That's not gonna, like, win any fights, but I think that's cool. So now Oh! Wait. Does that one give regen? That is going to make it so much easier, if they choose to, for support Necros to keep 100% regeneration uptime on their parties in PvE. I think that's neat. I think it's neat! Blood Bond. Reduced internal cooldown from 20 seconds to 16 seconds. You know, yeah, it's kind of funny to think about that conceptually. Like, your whole group's fighting for their life, and your Necromancer's like, guys! And you're like, what? You look over, you're trying to hold back the enemy, and the Necro's like, look what I can do! Woo! And he does a cartwheel, and you're like, oh, that's the stuff! And your wounds just start closing from the sheer awesomeness of that Necromancer's cartwheel. That's what we're seeing here, and I love it. Blood Bond! Reduced internal cooldown from 20 seconds to 16 seconds. Blood Bank! In addition to its previous effects, this trait now grants barrier for health gained while below full health at a 15% rate. In addition to its previous effects? Dude, Blood Bank is a great skill. It's in a Grandmaster trait line with some other great skills that compete with it. And they just keep making it better. Like, that's pretty wild. Soul Reaping. Soul Barbs. This trait now increases all damage dealt, not only strike damage. Reaper. Infusing Terror. This skill can now be used in mid-air, so that it better functions with Death's Charge. In mid-air. Yeah, I mean, friggin' Reaper coming at you from the sky. Alright. I'm immediately concerned that the Ranger patch notes are this large. Yes, it's because I play Ranger, okay? Let me be concerned about my main class. I'm concerned of the length of this before I even read it. Also concerned that none of those paragraphs start with Druid. Alright, here goes. The Ranger is a potent damage dealer. We've seen that Soul Beast has extreme burst potential, and unfortunately in this case this has helped create some very homogeneous group compositions. In this patch we're weakening Sikkim when used by his Soul Beast by lowering the damage bonus to 25%, matching the current balancing for this skill in PvP and World v World. We're also increasing the cooldown of One Wolf Pack. However, while we do want to slightly lower the extreme burst damage moments from Soul Beast, we don't want to significantly lower its overall damage per second on longer encounters. To this end, we're also increasing the damage bonus granted by Furious Strength, providing an overall increase to sustained damage per second. Okay, so Sikkim is now 25%. When used by other professions, it buffs the pet by 40. Soul Beast One Wolf Pack, increased cooldown from 60 to 80 in PvE only. Furious Strength passive, increased damage from 7 to 10. Okay. Warhorn, Call of the Wild. Reduced animation after cast time by 0.5 seconds. What? Okay, I'm gonna show you this just because we're right here. This is Call of the Wild. It's not that bad. Reduced animation, cast time by 0.5 seconds. The pet's next few attacks are no longer unblockable. That doesn't really bother me. The only people I've heard of abusing that, do you guys remember a few seasons ago when like Rangers would do a bunch of gimmicky stuff and then they would swap pets to a tiger and it would pounce at you for like 12,000 damage? That's the last time that I really heard about people abusing this. The exception being a merged Soul Beast, Warhorning, and then, you know, they become their own pet, so their next arrow would be unblockable. The skill will now daze and weaken nearby enemies when cast. Daze duration is 2 seconds in PvE and World v World, 1 second in PvP. But it doesn't say the duration of the weaken. 1 second daze in PvP. Doesn't the Necromancer Warhorn have a 2 second daze? Hang on, I want to compare. Let me do Warhorn. Daze is 2 seconds. Is that in all game modes? But the daze is all it does. Daze is, okay, the daze is all it does. The Warhorn 5 for Ranger also does Fury Might and Swiftness, and then if you are traded, it will give regen. Okay. Okay. I mean, that seems fair. Okay. I promise I'll only rant for a second. Here's my thing. Up there, they mentioned that mantras weren't fun to use because you had to prepare them before fights, and it was clunky, and it was stupid, and blah, 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 so we're changing it. Astral power. I'm a doctor who has to ask teammates to kill themselves before a fight starts so that I can slap them awake to build druid fluids to make them feel better a second later. In my mind, that's the same argument. It's not fun to prepare that for a fight. Like, I'm shocked that after... I'm not shocked, who am I kidding? Just after the whole thing with mantras, like, it's not fun, you have to prepare it. We thought about having it auto-recharge. Like, all of that applies to Astral Power. But, I'm bummed. I'm bummed. Alright, yeah, there's the link. Okay, well, moving on. Revenant. Renegade condition builds will be positively impacted by the general change to Torment in this patch. While they will be finding that they maintain and even improve their already strong performance, we are preemptively making slight decreases to the duration of applied Torment from several skills, as condition Renegade builds were already one of the most potent condition damage builds. We'd like to improve other possible variations to the current favorite Invocation build, and as such, we're allowing specific traits in both Retribution and Devastation to increase all damage dealt instead of strike damage only. Alongside these changes, we're updating the Retribution specialization to match the removal of the Retaliation Boon and its replacement with Resolution. We're improving the strike damage of the Renegade's Call of Fervor effect by changing it from a ferocity bonus to a bonus to all damage dealt. This change will allow Renegade power builds to be more viable for general play in open world and mission context, though it's unlikely to create a Renegade power build for high-end PvE content. Soulcleave's Summit was a skill we've been watching. Its ability to grant uncapped healing per second, limited only by how many times someone can hit while under its effect, resulted in unintuitive gameplay. When Soulcleave's Summit was active, players were incentivized to use skills that could hit the highest number of times. This unpredictable rate of healing is not something that can be balanced. As a result, it created situations where it would allow groups to ignore intended fight mechanics. We are now limiting Soulcleave's Summit to trigger once per second per player, similar to Razor Claw's Edge. We're still keeping an eye on this skill. Now that its rate is limited, we can safely improve it in future patches if needed. I'm just thinking about, like, a ranger standing at Soulcleave's Summit using Warhorn 4, which hits 16 times. For those of you who don't play Ranger, it's the one where you throw birds at someone. It does 16 hits. Retribution! Spiritual Reckoning. This trait has been renamed Spiritual Resolution. Increased duration of the granted boon from 3 to 6 seconds in PvE only. Determined Resolution. Damage reduction is now gained while the Revenant has Resolution rather than Vigor. Retaliatory Evasion. This trait has been renamed Resolute Evasion. Vicious Reprisal. This trait now increases all damage dealt rather than strike damage only. Invocation. Ferocious Aggression. This trait now also increases damage dealt from life stealing. Corruption. Fiendish Tenacity increases resistance duration from 3 to 5 in PvE only. Another reminder that resistance will no longer stop damage. It will just stop things like Immobilize and Chill and things like that from working. So this just affects that. Devastation. Destructive Impulses. This trait now increases all damage dealt rather than strike damage only. Buff to Condi. Renegade. Soulcleave Summit. Lifestealing can now trigger a maximum of once per second for each affected target. Callous Fervor. This effect no longer increases ferocity. It now increases all damage dealt by 2% per stack in PvE. This increases to 3% per stack with Lasting Legacy. Mace Echoing Eruption. Reduce torment duration from 8 to 7 in PvE. I'll have to wait and I'll have to reserve judgment on that. Keep in mind that essentially torment damage in PvE just skyrocketed. So I'm wondering if 8 to 7 is enough, but I'll wait and see. Temporal Rift. Reduce torment duration from 12 to 10 in PvE. Legendary Demon. Embrace the Darkness. Reduce torment duration from 6 to 5.5 in PvE. Pain Absorption. Increase base resistance duration from 2 to 3. MRC says conditions always feel like the plague. That's because the plague is a condition. Thank you. Thief. Thief has some of the least build diversity in PvE gameplay for a while now. Yeah, they go stab, stab, bonk, bonk, or blam, blam. And it's overdue for some improvement. While we're happy with the power damage rolls currently available for Thief players, we like to bring back Thief condition builds as another option. In this update, we're improving the conditions applied by daggers and shortbows, and we're adding more condition-related power to the trickery specialization by giving it a source of expertise and a multiplier to bleed damage. I'm scared. Notably, we are also reducing the max targets of the stolen skill Detonate Plasma. Oh, just to pause the reading right there, are they killing Boon Thief? Which affects Thief Boon build compositions in a few specific raid encounters. Now that we've added additional sources of quickness to the Scrapper specialization, we believe it is the appropriate time to also bring the Thief Boon build roll in these encounters down to match, providing boons including quickness for half the raid squad. This will allow for less squad roll shuffling in these encounters. If a squad still chooses to utilize the Thief Boon build, they will only replace one quickness provider. Detonate plasma, reduce max targets from 10 to 5. Oh! I gotta say, I was never a fan of Boon Thieves, but that's because I only know bad Boon Thieves. Whenever I went in a group with the Boon Thief, he's like, I got all the boons covered. We're like, okay, it's all you, and then he'd die, and we would have no boons. So I started calling Boon Thieves a single point of failure. However, I didn't mind them. They didn't bother me. I just knew only bad ones. Like, I didn't care. So this is very interesting. And it works on, like, what, 4 fights in the game? It works on, I might have done, I'm close. It works on, like, 4 or 5 fights in the game. So I really don't care. Yeah, Thief has no build diversity. We've removed a build. Dagger. Wild Strike. The skill now inflicts 2 stacks of bleeding for 3 seconds in PvE and 1 stack in PvP and World vs. World. Trick Shot. Shortbow. Reduce the animation length by 0.2 seconds. The skill no longer deals increased strike damage to poison enemies. Instead, it applies 1 stack of bleeding. Oh, God. They're going to be killing us with shortbows now. Instead, it applies 1 stack of bleeding for 4 seconds when striking a poisoned enemy. Okay. Surprise Shot and Malicious Surprise Shot. These skills now additionally apply 3 stacks of bleeding for 5 seconds of PvE and 1 stack of PvP in World v. World. Choking Gas. Increased poison duration from 2 to 3 seconds of PvE and World v. World only. This now matches the duration in structured PvP modes. Okay. I mean, Choking Gas, the main thing is that it kept dazing you, I believe. I know it interrupts you when you're trying to revive people. They could just keep Choking Gas spamming you, and it will slowly be killing the down person and stopping the other person from reviving. Deadly Arts. Improvisation. The cooldown of this trait has been reduced from 20 to 15 seconds. Trickery. Preparedness. This trait now increases expertise by 150. Bewildering Ambush. This has been reworked and renamed Deadly Ambush. Deadly Ambush. Stealing also applies 3 stacks of bleeding. Okay, I have a mental image of some guy wearing, like, the glove that the Shredder had from the Ninja Turtle, and he, like, picks my pocket and gashes my thigh at the same time. Stealing applies 3 stacks of bleeding for 10 seconds in PvE and 3 stacks for 6 seconds in PvP and World v. World. Bleeding inflicted on foes does 25% more damage. Deadeye. Binding Shadow. This skill now... Hold on, I just processed that last thing. Bleeding inflicts 25% more damage. That is a dummy thick trait for a Condi Thief. 25%. Binding Shadow. This skill now reveals the caster if they are using stealth when the skill begins. Reduce the aftercast animation from 0.25 to 0.08. Yeah, I mean, that's not unheard of. Just to, again, give you an example that's right in front of me, Rangers have a trait right here that's mandatory for condition builds that increases bleeding by 33%. Like, there are other classes with builds where they've just got one trait that's just to, you know, one condition. Alright, Warrior. I gotta say, after reading The Thief, I'm glad I didn't see a lot of stuff about, like, pistol conditions. Because if there is a thief that scares me, besides Deadeyes, it's the Condi pistol ones that are really good. The ones that just, like, teleport around you, and there's, like, you know, they appear, they do, like, 20 conditions, they vanish, then they appear on the other side of you, 20 conditions, and they just pick you apart. Like, a good one of those makes me feel like there's nothing I can do. Warrior. Berserker has been in a great place with strong support, power, and condition builds that are successful in all content. Yeah, they've got support banners, power banners, and Condi banners. I love them. However, Spellbreaker lacks the damage it needs to keep up, and the line between banner support and damage-oriented builds is very blurry, showing that possible alternatives to the discipline specialization were underperforming. With this update, we're making improvements to tactics to make it more viable alternative to discipline, and we're improving Spellbreaker's damage capability. We're also lowering the base target cap of banners to 5 players. Wait, he said base. Maybe there's a trait. With the choice for support builds to utilize double standards trait to raise the target cap to 10. Dude, did they literally call it double standards? You mother muckers. It's too easy. They called it double standards, you pieces of crap. All banners are now gaining light combo fields, giving all giving all warrior specialization access to condition cleanse combos. All banners are light fields? What? Those things are down the whole time. Is it a light field for the whole duration? Only 5 seconds. Phantom says 5 seconds. I freaking hope so. Dude. Yeah, okay. Someone make a warrior with banners that is that guy from Dark Souls, the Praise the Sun guy. Someone make that. Like, you need to claim that ASAP. Get that fashion wars going. All right. Where was I? Rifle is also receiving an improvement pass. Improving its ability to combat multiple targets and giving it more utility as a ranged power weapon in general mission and open world play. I don't mind that. Rifle is, by most of the members of the community, Rifle is seen as a meme that is just used in, you occasionally will run into someone who is using it in PvP, and they usually, think of it as like a joke or something. Alright, rifle changes. Fierce Shot. This attack now pierces but no longer grants bonus adrenaline against vulnerable targets. Instead, it grants 1 stack of might for 5 seconds to the warrior when hitting a vulnerable target. Crack Shot. Instead of granting bonus adrenaline when Fierce Shot hits, this trait now causes Fierce Shot to deal 10% bonus damage in addition to its previous effects. Aimed Shot has been removed. Volley has been moved to slot 2 on the weapon. Explosive Shell is now the 3 button. Previously Volley. This attack fires a large shell at the target that explodes on contact with an enemy. The explosion creates a cone-shaped blast that fires through the target, striking foes behind them and inflicting the crippled condition of... Jesus Christ, it is Graves from League of Legends. Okay, so their Rifle 3 is Graves' ult from League of Legends. Okay. Can we at least give them a... wait, what is this game? Like Peggy 12? Like, can they have cigars? Someone give Warriors cigars. Banners. Reduce the number of allied targets affected from 10 to 5, but the discipline trait doubles standards. It now increases the number of allied targets from 5 to 10. Did you watch Teapot? I have in the past. I haven't today. Banners no longer cause blast finishers. They now create light combo field that persists for 5 seconds after the banner is summoned. Strength. Peak performance. Reduce the additional strike damage applied for a period of time after using a physical skill from 15 to 10% PvE only. Okay. Great Fortitude. This trait now increases ferocity by 10% of your vitality. Defense, Cull the Weak, increased damage bonus from 7 to 10% in PvE. Spiked Armor has been renamed Hardened Armor. Tactics, Marching Orders, reduced internal cooldown to gain Soldier's Focus from 15 seconds to 10. Leg Specialists. I kind of wish they had just called it Leg Man. Would have given me more ammo to work with. Increased damage bonus from 7 to 10% in PvE only. Roaring Reveal. Increased duration of the resistance boon granted to the Warhorn skill Call of Valor from 2 to 3 seconds. Leggy boy. Imagine asking people how they're spec'd in that way. Like, you're like in the PvP lobby, and they're like, Warrior, what? Are you a leg man? What? Are you a leg man? Are you a leggy boy? You heard me. Just like yelling at him. Warrior's Cunning. Reduce the health threshold for bonus damage from 90 to 80%. Discipline. Warrior's Sprint. Increase damage bonus from 7 to 10 in PvE. Double Standards. Reduce bonus effect from banners from 100 to 50. Whoa, wait, whoa, what? Reduced the bonus effect from banners from 100% to 50%. Oh, they tried to just slip that one in there. Yo, banners just got nerfed. This trait now additionally increases the number of targets from 5 to 10. So, they've got to take that trait to be a banner warrior. But the first part of the trait just got a heavy nerf. Ooh. Alright. Axe Mastery. This trait no longer grants additional ferocity for a second equipped axe. Spellbreaker. Sun and Moon Style. Fixed a bug that could cause trait bonuses to be temporarily lost after recovering from the down state. So it's 100% to 5 or 50% to 10. No. So if you had this... I believe the way this reads is before the patch, this buffed banners by 100%. And after the patch, this buffs banners by 50, but that is separate from this bit down here. I believe it's separate from that. Hold on, I'm catching up on chat. No, so the trait was that warriors got 100% bonus from banners, now they only get 50% bonus. It's just a nerf to the double standards trait, not banners. It's 100% to 5 or 150 to 10 as opposed to 100 or 200 to 10. Wait, what? It's 100% to 5 or 150 to 10 if you take the skill. Alright, so one person said it was a bonus to the warrior only, so that's not as big as a deal as I thought it was. Alright. Fixed a bug that could cause trait bonuses to be lost after recovering from the down state. The main hand dagger bonus has been reworked to deal an additional 10% strike damage to foes with no boons. Attacker's insight. Each stack of the insight effect now grants an additional 50 power, precision, and ferocity at level 80 in PvE. Each stack now grants an additional 35 power, precision, and ferocity in PvP and World v World. Previously, each stack granted 45 power and ferocity. Hold on, I'm rereading that. Okay, so it was a buff in PvE and a nerf in PvP and World v World. Full counter. The attack portion of this skill now correctly triggers if the Spellbreaker is in mid-air, allowing the skill to end correctly. I gotta say, my biggest issue with full counter is how often the graphic bugs. Y'all ever been fighting against a warrior, or been a warrior, in PvP, and, like, you look like you're full countering 100% of the match after the first time you use it? That is my biggest issue with it. That drives me bonkers. Like, yes, you can look at their like, where the boons are listed to look for it there, but that's another thing to keep an eye on in a battle, and it's difficult. I would love to see them be like, oh yeah, we found this, and it's permanently fixed. It is possible easy to be able to save Rattle's Raise if you lost DVS House's Warrior, probably need to go full Assassin's Warrior, so just on crit capping. Maybe they mean when you're on a map when you're a level down. Attacker's Insight didn't give precision before. Oh, okay, so that's cool. And that's the end of it. Woo, that was a lot of notes. Okay, alright, what do I think is cool here? Warriors feel like they're being forced to take a trait. I'm not sure if they were all taking this trait before, but it feels like this is almost mandatory for your raids, for your banner warrior. I thought it was kind of interesting, not interesting. Unless the chrono nerf was pretty heavy, I don't know that we're going to see many DPS non-banner warriors, you know? Like, it talked about the build diversity here, but we really only see banner warriors in PvE. Now, they always get in groups, you know? They always get a spot in a group, but it's usually just banner warriors. Thief. Thieves lack build diversity. We killed a build. It's... Okay. Let's see. Revenants. Some major changes to Rev. Revs, of course, got the major... very much affected by the Torment changes. So that's going to be really big for them. One of the things... In PvE, I totally fine with them getting huge damage buff. What I fear is, you guys know that moment where they're bursting you in PvP and they taunt you and you turn around to shoot them and then they like hit you with a whole bunch of burst at once? During that moment that a rev taunts you, you're not moving, and I fear the torment burst at that time. But we'll see how this goes. Ranger, I'm severely disappointed. It feels like they looked at one single build of Ranger and said that's a wrap. I'm severely disappointed. I have got a bug report on the forums about a druid thing that's been broken for 13 months, and another one that's been on there that's been there for like 3 months. And like, man, it really bums me out. It really bums me out that not only are none of the bugs I know of that are affecting me on a daily basis getting fixed, but also there's like no balance being done to the stuff I play at all. So that makes me pretty sad. Are these live now? No, they're not live yet. Necro. Wish they had done something to Lich form. Quality of life stuff here. The Torment stuff for Necro got a big buff with the Torment changes. Blood Bank got a thick nerf. I'm curious if anybody's going to take Blood Bank now. It is a great trait. It's just the other traits it competes with are really good also. And yeah, I'm sad to not see something happen for Lich form. You know, like either the scaling or the fact that the best rotation is 1-1-1-1-1-1-1 needs to be addressed. Chrono. I think it's really freaking cool that Mesmers can do 10-man Alacrity now. Yeah, they might kick my butt in PvP now even more than they used to, but I think that's really freaking cool. I think I'm glad to see it. I'm glad to see it. Guardian. I would argue that all their mantras just got buffed. Condi Guardian definitely got a nerf. We'll see how much of a nerf, but Spirit Weapons. Woo! They slapped the crap out of Spirit Weapons. They only apply a burn on the first hit. That is a massive squish to what the Spinny Sword used to do. Engineer. Scrappers can now give Quickness to groups. So now if you need Quickness, you can get a Firebrand, a Chrono, or an Engineer for your party. That is awesome. I love to see it. I love to see it. Elementalist, very, very, very minor tweaks. And then some general stuff. So, let's see. So the Defiance bar thing, where if you're a condition damage user, you just got a massive damage boost when hitting something with a broken Defiance bar. But if you're a power damage dealer, you got a nerf when hitting something with a broken Defiance bar. So that's interesting. That's going to affect raid bosses and fractal bosses and world bosses. And then, of course, Mantra, buffs, Retaliation is gone, Resolution is in. That means everyone that had Retail now has Resolution, and they've got more defenses versus conditions in PvP. We'll see how that goes. But at the same time, Resistance doesn't save you any more Revenants, so going from 100% ignoring conditions to 25% ignoring conditions, it might feel like Revs become more vulnerable to conditions than they used to be. That is a lot. That is a lot. That's what I thought about your hybrid soul beast for New Defiance Bar. Oh yeah, the hybrid one was always great, because the hybrid soul beast can keep up over 50 bleeds at cap, plus a little bit of burning and stuff. The discipline thing for Warrior's not weird, Mike. They say they want to boost trait lines that are not discipline, but force discipline use due to the Banner 10 trait. Same for Thief. They like build diversity, so we had Condi build, but delete Boon Thief. Yeah, they didn't delete Boon Thief. They made it to where if you had someone giving... The Thief gives... Okay, Boon Thief gives everything except Alacrity, okay? So if you had it in a group, you could have it replace the Quickness guy, and it gives Quickness and Might and Fury and Regen, blah, 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 blah. The problem is those groups almost always have a Druid. And Druid gives 25 Might to 10 people, not just one group, to 10. And then they can keep Fury up on their party and Swiftness and Regen and stuff like that very easily with their other skills. It almost feels like it would be a chore to have the Boon Thief take over. because of the, they wouldn't be providing the fury and the might and all that to both parties. It feels like it would be a chore to have them take over. Now, I could be wrong. I'm not one of the hardcore raiders. I'm a casual one at best. But, yeah, we'll see. It was only used in, like, 3-5. Yeah, it wasn't used in many places. Quickness, Scrapper after Napkin Theory Crafting gives decent bits of might and protection, super speed, and a source of stability, and lots of condition conversion. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I mean, they were already very known for some of those things in World v. World, and they just got some more added to it. Oh, man. Oh, that means the World v. World Scrappers might have just gotten a bit of a buff. Oh, my game says new build available.